Hello everyone, I just wanted to show you something that I didn't show to anyone because I was talking on the B-Sides Prague, and I think that it will be really cool if you will get the option to actually experience the AI services that can boost your DevSecOps game. And I wanted to create a rewind video with this space exploration story, so please go along with me and let's explore the new space of cloud services. Some of these things I already mentioned in some of my previous videos. Some of these things can be new for you. I just want you to wrap up around something that can be very interesting, something that can bring you new ideas out there. So I'll really look forward for this video and enjoy this B-Sides rewind with me, just to have fun on AWS services that can boost up your DevSecOps game. So let's start our journey. Let's start and jump on our living ship and explore the space of options for the DevSecOps. One of the services that you can use is IAM Access Analyzer. I already talked about that, but it's also very good to mention it. You can have delegated Security Hub admin, a Security Hub as an aggregator, and you can send the data from the different Security Hubs that are gathering the IAM Access Analysis. It uses logic-based reasoning mechanism, so it looks about logic in your IAM policies, and then it can generate policies based on the cloud trail. That means everything that you use in your IAM policies or in your actual work with cloud will be reflected on these generated policies. It validates the policies against dangerous permissions, for example, elevation of privilege or reading the services that you shouldn't read. And you can identify the resources that you are sharing externally with someone that you shouldn't share, and it can also help you with the confused deputy problem. Fun fact is it is using Zelkova algorithm to translate IAM logic to statements, and these statements are being processed by this logic-based reasoning mechanism. It runs on the general purpose specialized logical solvers. This works with a satisfactory modular theory, and it runs it against a specific problem like privilege escalation or like external access. So this is based on semantic reasoning of your IAM policy translated to the statement saying this permission means this and this permissions mean this. So we'll move with our spaceship a little bit more further. I'll talk about AWS Code Guru. It has three main parts: Reviewer, Profile, and Security. Reviewer basically uses the program analysis combined with the machine learning. Yes, with machine learning, not with LLM. Machine learning is something else, and it's also very good to mention that because people tend to confuse that even when they are thinking that they're experts in the field and they are not. So I'm not expert in that field. I'm just like an enthusiastic person who likes to learn like you. And if you will gather the models that AWS trained on their millions of lines of Java and Python code, it's also available as a GitHub action. So Reviewer is reviewing the code. Profile is for profiling the code. It tells you, it collects the runtime performance data and tells you how long your code is being executed, how specific methods are being loaded in the memory, how long it takes. And it helps with the serverless costs, and it also helps identify utilization and time. It also helps with security for one reason, with the denial of service attacks. Denial of service attacks are very known and are very problematic with the Lambda based or serverless, where you pay for the execution time. So fine-tuning that time is super important for you, and it should be one of the priority items if you are building a serverless application. And also security is a free and preview. Now they're doing lots of merging with the Whisper and Amazon Q, and they're merging them together. And also there's limited language support. So they have also their own database. I will show you that one. And it also can work with CWE findings with recommendations, so you can check the common weaknesses in software. These common weaknesses in software are actually being detected by something called AWS Code Guru. It's not Whisper, it's called Guru. It works with the machine learning. It's trained on AWS database, and this Code Guru has something called detector library. I recommend you to Google that because I was talking about that in one of my previous videos, but it's super cool to get back to it. It has something called detectors. Not detectives, I'm saying detectors. And these detectors in our spaceship flying through our space, in our story about exploration, these detectors are for different languages. You have different amount of detectors for the different languages, and you can see that there's like improper privilege management, resource leaking, and always there's a description of what is an issue, what's the detector ID, where you can find it, what is the common weakness and enumeration ID, and what's the category and the language. And it will also show you which part of the code is non-compliant or the example of it. And your code can be pretty close to that, so that's why it is being detected as a like problematic code that you need to fix. Obviously, today with ChatGPT and with OpenAI or Copilots, you can actually take the code and make it compliant by understanding that, but you never should use your non-private endpoints, because that can cause an issue for your company. You can provide the data to someone that you don't want to provide the data. So I recommend to use your private endpoints if you can to review your code. Another part of Code Guru is a CI/CD integration. Me as a DevSecOps architect and personal engineer architect, basically the CI/CD integration is the core of my job. So when you have a pull request, you should have a code checkout, and with this code checkout, you should be able to run Code Guru GitHub action. This Code Guru can export the data to Serif, and the Serif can be read by any tools that you actually want. It can be integrated with GitHub Advanced Security or whenever. So you have your AWS cloud and you have AWS account, and this account basically uses this metadata stored in S3 bucket, encrypted with AWS KMS key, and the AWS or Amazon Code Guru, just to be very specific, actually goes to this metadata, goes to the files that are stored in your S3 bucket. So you have a full control over what is there and reviews the data, and then basically the findings are being generated in the service itself, in the Code Guru. And the Code Guru action actually goes to the API and asks the API of Code Guru, please can you give me the findings? So basically you are not storing the findings in the CI/CD, you are not storing the findings in in your bucket. So there is no disclosure of your private findings or issues in your code without actual access or access keys or access key ID getting through the API and asking Amazon Code Guru to review what you provided to AWS account that you should own. And you see that there are several steps: checkout of the code, configuration of the credentials. The next step is add the Code Guru Reviewer action, which you see that it's calling AWS action Code Guru Reviewer 1-on-1, and then it uploads the results to GitHub. So there are 4 steps or 3 steps. In this case, the one is having two jobs. So basically, like 3 steps. You can make it in more steps if you want to do some fine tuning, but this is the basic flow. Let's time warp and let's go closer to our like black hole, or whenever will shift us and warp us to the new space and help us to navigate to not only the services that I mentioned earlier, but to navigate through more services that you can even imagine. So AWS DevOps Guru is another great service that people usually forget. It's a proactive service and reactive. It has proactive and reactive findings. That's the important fact. You can run it and you can get the data from CloudWatch and CloudTrail, obviously one of the most important services in AWS. And you can also utilize Amazon Bridge and Lambda to use, for example, SaaS stack resources, or you can even like do some fine tuning with it. It does a cost estimation on cloud formation and resources for tag-based policies. It detects anomalies on your logs for the DevOps purposes, and it is integrated with the Code Guru profiler. So it's with the Code Guru. There's like pure integration, and it also can detect anomalous lambda durations. This anomalous lambda durations can mean looping attacks or denial of valid attacks. So that means that somebody executed remote code execution, or somebody is trying to cause your code, for example, comparison of the different strings, to run longer than is anticipated and cause you like financial harm. So when we are traveling through this black hole or warp, or whenever like rift we are going through the like universe, it's very good to check our map of the universe known star systems. You can use AWS Party Rock, which is very good playground, and I was talking in one of my previous videos about this particular thing. And also you can use Amazon Q, which is everyone is talking about Amazon Q. It has several offerings. It's a very cool service, but if you want to go deeper, you need to use Amazon Bedrock, which is offering like the common models like Claude, Anthropic models, etc. Code Guru is also one of those important services that I actually talked about. The Code Whisperer is becoming part of the Amazon queue. So when I was talking about that, and besides this year, it was like two separate services. When you will check the documentation now, it is getting closer and closer. So the Code Whisperer is being ingested by Amazon Q, and also Amazon Guard Duty, Amazon Macy, and other like are really good for MML-based anomaly detection in your applications, in your account, to be able to discover not only anomalous behavior, but work with your data. And you need to provide this data, these logs, this information that actually can be worked with. So if you want to start with learning like how to build widgets, how to build like a small app calling different models, I don't know, GPT models or Llama or whenever you want, basically, then you should start with Party Rock, because there's some free credits and you can play with it. Let's talk about AWS Code Whisperer. AWS Code Whisperer is also very interesting service, and as I said, it's already paid or part of the Amazon Q developer. It's a machine learning led code suggestion generator in the CI/CD. So when I'm writing code, it suggests you and it tries to autocomplete it. You can use tabulator to move there. Because I already showed that in one of my videos, I don't want to go to too much details in the things that you already saw, but check out one of my videos about Code Whisperer, about the most common DevSecOps services that you can use in AWS, or about the AI services. So you can also scan your code directly in your IDE on the security issues. It also offers the reference log directly in the IDE, so you can see all the data before you will even commit something. You can use your Builder ID in AWS to connect to the system and get the information. So yes, and that's a very important fact. You should use your AWS Builder ID to connect. So you should have an account just to be able to communicate with the servers on AWS side. And you can also like fine tune if you want to get tracked or not, so that's your decision. It has integration with Visual Studio Code, with JetBrains, AWS Cloud9, with Jupyter Notebook, so with lots of things, with Lambda. So very, very cool features in the service. I really recommend to try it. And when we are flying through our space in our spaceship just to get to the proper system, just to get some trading business, let's go into the space of AI. So let's explore the market. This is a very interesting market space station where we will check our options with some of the new services, and maybe some of them you already know. Some of them can be interesting for you, some of them not, but just go along with me and explore the market. So Amazon Q Developer. It's a very cool service. I know that this is, for some of you will say, hey, Bedrock is much better. That's true, but if you are looking for something business focused and easy to use, you will go with Amazon Q. So Amazon Q Developer is an offering which is AI-powered assistance for developers. And it contains Code Whisperer itself, code debugging, and in-run recommendation. Amazon Q Developer is now even like aware of your account resources, so you can ask to rewrite specific code, you can ask to generate code, you can ask to review the code. It's a very cool service. And developer can pull request summaries. This is something very cool. If you use AWS Code Catalyst, that's also a mind-blowing thing, and I'm thinking about like whole video about that, because that's something that you will enjoy. So you can do pull request summaries. So you will get the code, and that's where you can use, I don't know, GPT or OpenAI too. Just not to say, hey, AWS is the only one doing that, because that will be not true. So when you have a PR, you can actually take the code itself and you can generate a pull request summary with an AI, actually, or LLM. This is a really cool feature, because majority of the PRs that I'm reviewing, it's very hard to read, very hard to understand, very hard to even detect the meaning. And I need to go to the developer and ask him, hey, what's the purpose of that? Why am I trying to do this? Actually, I understand what is in the code, but why am I doing that? And these LLM services can actually help us to understand more context, give you more information. I really like that. And this integration with IDE and providing the the pull request summaries is very cool. And also it offers in IDE, so integrated developer environment, it can basically offer you the code explanation and unit test generation. And I don't know what, you can move super fast today. You can move so fast that is mind-blowing. So let's go to business version. When I will talk about the business version, that's a little bit different. So business version is something else. You can have a chatbot or whenever you will want what you want to generate. For me, I was playing with the let's replace with the idea. Here's the idea. Let's replace the security champions. I know this is crazy, but I want to create like virtual security champion for security champions. Because sometimes I'm just like super tired from people going to me and asking me questions like 8 hours straight, and then I have like my work to complete. So what I was thinking, I was like, let's provide people something where they will just ask the question and it will provide them information from our documentation, from OWASP Top 10, from OWASP cheat sheet series. So not cheap, cheat sheet series, sorry. This is really funny. Sometimes I'm talking so fast that I'll get lost to the words, but I want to be authentic here. So when you go here with this champion or guide, you can use your own documentation to give people advices or give them reference where they will find it, and they just don't need to go to you every time when they're looking for something. So you can create like company topics, restrictions, and guardrails. That's also something that I'm working on heavily, like how to build a proper guardrail system for LLMs. And it uses a retrieval augmented generation, aka RAG. It's a natural language processing technique which takes the basic model and then it enriches the data with your own documentation, which can be PDFs, it can be information from crawling, it can be information from those specific pages from your documentation. So whenever you will select, and you can use that in your chatbot, for example, and then when the response to the prompt will be generated to the user, you will actually get even the references to the original documents and you can download them. This is super cool. So you can use crawler, updated documents, you can have simple URLs, you can have txt files with the URLs, or you can have S3 bucket with the domain list for RAG. So resources like Aurora, or the resources can be the source of the data, can be Aurora, PostgreSQL, Confluence, Slack, many things. Please don't do that with your tickets, with your Jira, or whenever, because then it's very hard to find out the sensitive data that you can put in that chatbots. And then it depends if the chatbot will be internal, external. You need to always consider what kind of data you are actually putting in your retrieval augmented generation. So let's meet the Hala, the security champion. Let's deep dive in the short demo where I will show you how the chatbot actually can work, what are the options. Just to show you, think about how you can make and help for developers where they will have questions and you want to save your time because you already have the data. Just give the right data to developers without actually disclosing that to public. So let's go and have fun with Hala, the security champion. So let's have a fun with Hala, the security champion. I already created this security champion chatbot with all of the setup, but I will show you how I did it and how it actually works. So you should be able to get more details about it. So let's go. You see that the deployment link, it will basically deploy the chatbot for you, and you will get access portal link, which is for the users to log in. And I will go to the Hala, the security champion. You have specific setup, and I will show you how it is being set up from the beginning. You set up the name, you need to create a service ring role, and you can also customize your options for the encryption. It cannot be changed after you actually do it. It looks like this is already done. And you need to set up also the role for, you can create a new one, or you can create, basically use the existing one. When I will update it, it will go to update retrieval. You can have existing one with Amazon Kendra or the native one. I'm using the starter setup. You can have also enterprise. We see that this is multi-availability zone. I don't actually need that. And also depends on how many documents you want to use for retrieval augmented generation. So I will click next. And then you have various data sources. I have an Amazon S3. So actually I added some bucket. You can also browse through your buckets, and I have this security champion that I selected, and the bucket was added. It will go through the bucket and add the documents or the txt files or whenever you have there. You have full sync or with new, modified, or deleted. You can also specify the maximum file size, metadata that you want to use, and pattern filters. And also it creates for you the document field mappings. So I'll go back because I don't want to basically change it. And also there's a web crawler. So here I was adding my sneak domain. I can go with OWASP top 10 or whenever. I can use sort of sitemaps. I can use the file. For example, here I can go through security champion, and here there's a web security champion list. I can go and I can choose, and in this one I already have a URL, so domains that I can use. Then I can have authentication, web proxy that I want to use, sync scope, and other things, which is very similar to another setup. Tagging, obviously, and then it creates the field mapping. So I'll add this data source, and it will basically start syncing. And then I will go with back, cancel. So I added a few things, web crawler and Amazon S3. And there are many other things that you should add. You can add this Aurora, Alfresco, Amazon, RDS, so many sources, Zendesk, Jira. I do not recommend to use, your personal things if you are exposing these things to public. But if you are running these chatbots or security champions internally, then it shouldn't be any problem. So when we'll go next, you can create a new users. You see it was loading because I already have some users. When I will click on users, it should write or basically read my user called Hala, which is using the Business Pro or Business Lite, that are different subscriptions. So I will update the application itself right now. And when I will go back here to Hala, and it should do some updates. Here you see that there is an S3 source completed. I can go here and I can click on sync now, and it will start the syncing process. You can stop the sync. Here is aborted, and basically it will stop the syncing process. Here the web crawler goes through the web pages, crawls that, and I'm using sneak blog post. Here the S3 goes through the S3 bucket, loads the different documents whenever you select. So basically here, I will show you also here in the sneak. There is a view in CloudWatch. So you see how long it took. It scanned total 1,100 items, how many were added and failed items. If I want to see more, I can go to view in CloudWatch. Click here, and it will redirect me to CloudWatch. It will prepare a query for me in Log Insights, and I will run the query. And it will show me the data from the process of indexing and ingesting the data for our sneak. And I can see even the different blog posts being ingested to my retrieval augmented generation procedures. So you can see all the adding item to index. You can see different setups, and you see here is lots of entries. So absolutely not bad, because you can control and see after the sync what everything was consumed and what everything is included in your chatbot or this security champion. I'm not trying to replace the champions. I'm just playing with the idea of having the friendly neighbor champion or security champion. So if I will close this window and I will go back to the sync now, the Hala security champion, you see that you can have encrypted data, and now it's loading the resources. You can even change the retrieval settings if you want, and the web experience setting, it should open the web experience, basically setting up the initial message and the tagging. So if I will go to web experience settings, that's the most important thing. You can manage the tags, and here if I will click on here, customize web security experience, here you can basically customize the name. View, that it will basically redirect to the access portal again, just to play with the chatbot. And here is the link, and you can rename the chatbot. You can create a subtitle and the first message. You can save it, and this will create the custom message for you. If I will go back to the preview, here you can have the new conversation. Before I was testing that, it was easy to test it here, but to test the whole security champion, I will need to go to the user login and then play with that. Usually also it gives me the answer from the learned data and enriched data from my documents, and reference that document, which is very cool. If you have your own documentation, and you want to provide some help to your engineers. So here you see that when it was created, when creation time, etc. So if I will go back, you can see the service access, the title, the application ID, so you can have multiple of these chatbots. If I will manage and access subscriptions, you can change the subscription of the user here. I will click on change the subscription here, and you can change the subscription from Lite to Pro, and also the ID of the user. So, or the ID of the subscription. So basically the user should be able to access your chatbot. And there are also like guardrails that you can set up for your chatbot, which is very cool. The topics that you want to filter. You can use plugins that are if I click here, for Jira, Zendesk, Salesforce, ServiceNow, custom plugin. And you can even use the document enrichments. For example, here, you can add your document field names, you can add the extra data source, and you can do also relevance to fine tuning for the document titles, the last updated, and you can do some advanced boosting on the boosting of the duration, and also the data sources or file types can be kind of prioritized here. So if I'll go back, you can see also all of these things that are being done. You can even add the data source after the page is being loaded or after the page will load. It takes some time. I really don't know why in this GUI the loading is happening here, because if I will refresh the page, it should work normally. So here you see that the current state is syncing. So I will go back here because I added the new file, and it shows you like the total item scan, edit, and you can even see the real time in CloudWatch. So now it is crawling the web pages that I was adding there, and I can even stop sync, which will actually, I need to do it, stop. I will stop the sync, and it should like basically tell me how many items were actually synced with my current knowledge base. You can have different actions, you can delete it, you can edit it, which is also very good. And in the settings, you still see the setup of the data source. After you create this, you can even add new data sources. I will refresh it again. I really don't know why I need to refresh it. That's a really good feedback for Amazon. I can add the data source anytime I want, and I can add one of these predefined sources. You can even upload your files. This is also a very good thing to do. If you have some documents from OWASP Top 10, like OWASP Testing Guide or Coding Standards, you can actually upload them there, and it will reference the files in the chatbot itself. And I think I'm just interested what you think about that, because I think that this chatbot setting and retrieval augmented generation setup for Amazon Q Business can actually really help you to save a time as a security engineer or DevOps engineer to help the developers understand what is your what are your standards and what is the standard documentation. And I think that the use case here is very obvious. Instead of searching in, I don't know, Confluence or Notion or whenever you are using as a knowledge base, you can actually have a chatbot going through that and providing the right information at the right time. So what are your thoughts? So another great service is AWS PartyRock, obviously. AWS PartyRock is a Bedrock-backed playground, so it is using AWS Bedrock. It uses foundational models like Llama, Jurassic, Titan, or Stable Diffusion. So it depends on the use case, and that's also very important. You need to have the right use case for the widgets. When I was doing a hackathon, I completely forget to use the right models for the right thing, and I think this didn't help me to get more points. When I was like signing with my projects that I was showing in one of my previous videos with the sci-fi game that I did in PartyRock and with the source code analyzer. So this is very easy for widget making, like generation of the pictures. You can chain the prompts together, so you can have prompt and then generate the data. Based on this data, you can have another prompt. And this is very, very cool thing to try. And you really need to, if I will show you that, it will be so much fun. You just need to go and to try it. You can even export it with a standalone app with GenStack, formerly Partysmith, from one of the AWS community builders. Maybe he is a hero, but I think that he was a community builder. And you can create the security scorecards with that. That's also a very cool thing that I'm planning to dedicate one video about. You can create a new SaaS tool, or you can have a Kubernetes manifest security code review tool, or not code review, even like the best practices. So you can throw the manifest against that or your Helm chart, and it will tell you, hey, you maybe forget about this. And this is very, very cool thing to build your own implementation of a usable and meaningful and valuable AI services. It's just really cool. I just need to say I'm really happy that we are living in this time. I think we are very lucky. So let's go and explore the space more further. Leave the space station, and now we are going to Amazon Q demo. Now is the time when we'll have fun with AWS Q or Amazon Q. Let's go, bear with me, and before we land out or leave our space station, let's do the thing. So let's go and have a fun with Amazon Q. I will create a new tab and I will say write Python 3.6 lambda AWS lambda for S3 bucket object signing. Then I'll hit enter, and what it will do, it will actually generate the code for me. I will click here in the file itself and just to prepare the cursor. So when I will do it and the generation will end, I will actually be able to ingest the code from the Amazon Q to my file, or I can insert it very fast, and it will also generate the description of the code for me. And that also suggests the follow-up questions. So I will insert the code itself, and you see it creates a lambda handler, the signing job, etc., etc. I can even ask for the specific things. For example, I will mark this part of the code, and I will say explain selected part of the code. I'll hit enter, and it will explain this part of the code for me and actually go through that and basically explain how it works, what it does. That's also very good to understand. For example, someone else's code, when you are reviewing that and when you are trying to get more details about possible options, you can even ask for the possible options. Can you refactor selected code? Okay, I will hit enter here. And it will take that code and it can do refactoring for me and basically some improvements. So here's the refactor version, and basically it will also provide you few like tips how you can do it better, and it's also not bad, something that you can actually try. Here's the refactor version. So definition, the start signing job. Basically it creates a function from it, so it's also not bad, because it actually helps you to basically refactor it, help you with having better code knowledge and coding techniques. What I can do, I can even say, I can mark the whole, I will say generate unit test for the lambda. I will hit enter. What it will do, it will create a proposal for the unit testing of the whole lambda. So if I want to make it really fast, then it shouldn't be any problem, and it should be very easily generated for me and even used. You can even copy paste that. So here it will tell you can use PyTest, Moto, a mock signer, and basically it will use the like definition of credentials testing, the S3 event, lambda test handler, all of these things it can do for you, and it can insert any time and in any part of the code the generated code. I think this is super cool, and I think that's this is just a beginning. So ChatGPT prompt cheat sheet, I'm showing that everywhere where I can. This is like basic cheat sheet. I will do extended version. It's important to know that you have different categories which can help you. It's a continue with writing your code specification, where you write which framework you want to use, how you want to use it, adding the commands or removing the command, or generating GUI or RGB schematics. It's also very good for that. Adding code or removing code or selection of specific method and placing that code, that's also something that is very possible. You can change the use libraries, for example, to test. If you are doing experimentation, for example, you want to use, I don't know, tabulate instead of pretty table, then you can do it. You can do the code reviews. You can provide fixes for the problems. You can write cloud functions. You can do kind of infrastructure as code. There's still some weak points in here, but it can help you with some noise. There's lots of hallucination around infrastructure as code, so I would not recommend it like doing that like on a daily basis. But for experimentation or code sampling or anything like that, that's very cool and very easy to use. Let's move with another thing called AWS Surfer. This is a tool that I'm writing in my company where I'm working right now, and I want to show you what you can do in very short span of the time. So it's not completely written by AI, but I just want to show you. I was looking for the prototype of how to write a tool that will do the attack surface analysis on AWS for me in matter of hours, because I had like a matter of hours or minutes. And actually, I know how to write the code. I know how the code will actually look like, but I need something that will help me to generate the code fast and also fine-tune the algorithm itself, or finding the solution for specific algorithmic issues that I'm not able to solve really fast. And I think that that's where the AI helpers can help us. So if I will talk about writing code with AI or copilots, this is no go today, but helping you to fine-tune your code or helping you to find out any issues instead of going to Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is still great, and I know that many people, even seniors, are going there. Even like when you are expert, you always go there just to check, what's the community opinion on solving specific problem. And I think that with the prototyping or solutioning, the ChatGPT, OpenAI, and Microsoft Copilot, or AWS Bedrock, or AWS Code Whisper, or Amazon Q are very good tools. So let's go, and I will show you very shortly how it can actually work. I want to show you something really cool, because I had like 4 hours to prototype Attack Surface Analyzer for Kubernetes, RDS, and EC2. And I really want to not just check the public, security groups or public IPs. I want to check which instances have public access with the public security groups and are actually running, which Kubernetes clusters are public and they have anonymous access to their APIs, or which instances of RDS are public and what type of that are. And I want to scan it really fast, and I need to do some algorithmization super fast. I was like, okay, how to do it? And then the Copilot or any other solution like Code Whisper, ChatGPT, or any other things go in your mind just to be fast. It will not solve the problem for you, but it will help you to prototype fast. It will help you to solve algorithmic issues. So I will use this one. I will run my Attack Surface Analyzer, and what it actually does, it goes through all the regions, check out the public security groups, check out the instances that are running there. It's very simple, very easy. And also it does the same thing for RDS, it does the same thing for Kubernetes clusters. So I really wanted to have something really fast, and I was looking for how to analyze the relationships between the objects. And I knew that I don't have so much time, so it will give me information about the instances, and it will tell me which instances are actually running and are being exposed to internet. Then it also tells me which RDS instances are public. In this case, it's Aurora on the engine version with the endpoint. It's just very cool. It also tells me which ports are exposed to internet, and also it goes through EKS clusters for all the regions that I have enabled. And if there will be an EKS cluster, it will tell me what is the API endpoint, and if there is anonymous access for hackers, basically. So I really like the way how you can build very simple and very nice systems with help of the modern AI coding tools. And yes, it's not perfect. You need to know what you write. But if you know what you will write, and you are looking for something that you can be fast, and you obviously should go to Stack Overflow and check it out. Everyone does that, even seniors. But if you really want to be fast in coding, and you are also very good in debugging and in fixing the code, then this is an option for you too. So let's do some takeaways on our ship update. So AWS Code Whisper has its use cases for the cloud or code. Building a SEO security scanner with a party rock can be also an option. We talk about a few automation patterns. We also talk about how to use, for example, Code Guru and other tools. And we also talk about Amazon Q and how to build your own security helper. So that are like various things that we can discuss, and we discussed in this episode. And I want you to take this with you, like what is AWS Code Guru, what is Cloud Guru, sorry, not Cloud Guru, and what is CloudOps Guru, and other things. So basically, all of these things, it's good to remember. It's also very good to know that there are several offerings of Amazon Q and how to use them. Because I don't want to end this journey like just summarizing, hey, this is it. This is just the start of our journey. This is our exploration journey where we're going further. So I will show you more. So I want to talk about AWS Guard Duty because there are many services that can help you with the DevSecOps if you can classify it in the DevSecOps model. So for example, Kubernetes. Guard Duty needs a security agent on your cluster if you have actual manageable cluster. It's a combination of machine learning, threat intelligence, and anomaly detection, and it can tell you that there are several different types of attacks going in your Kubernetes clusters. I know that everyone talks about Guard Duty. It's very old service if you will talk about that, but it's still very useful. So it can be configured on the organization level. It can be used with AWS CLI. It has integration with security hubs, ingesting CloudWatch logs. You must enable, if you want to go with Kubernetes, you must enable the control plane logs. That's super important. And I'm saying that to everyone. The logs you enable, the data you get. That's very simple. So it can also detect anomalous detection. So that's why it uses machine learning. It learns at the data and then it can detect the anomalies inside of that. So it can also, the examples of the detection capabilities, it can find anonymous access granted, suspicious command execution in your cluster, Tor IP calls, so it can keep the database of the different calls. If you don't have the DNS logs, if you don't have the VPC flow logs, if you don't have the CloudWatch logs, it will not give you enough information that you actually need to detect the anomalies. And also, if you have Guard Duty, I recommend you to use the threat intelligence with the threat intelligence bucket to feed it on a daily basis with the malicious IPs. Yes, AWS keeps their own database, but it is very good to ingest your own data or enrich your own data here. So that's something that I really recommend and is super important to go if you are doing the Guard Duty. And just a few references for you if you are looking. The graphics is not done by me. I was using DALI, AWS documentation. The Code Guru review is on GitHub, and documentation for the Code Guru detection library is also in the links. So I really hope that you enjoy this wild ride, and I still hope that you are staying with me. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment. You know that drill. So just share it with the world. Let people know about my channel. Let people know that I'm doing this kind of work for you because I really like it. I'm just trying to find the proper time to deliver interesting and also not overwhelming content for you. And see you in the next video.